So clearly this is not Sweden, because I'm not currently in Sweden. I'm actually visiting home for the first time in 3 years. But I managed to dig up some old video from an old GoPro, which is a bit tinny, and yeah, it's not great stabilization, but there you go. I figured you guys might like this sort of thing, so this is a video I took probably in 2015, I think, working day shift at Mt Ruapehu, Whakapapa ski field, and this is heading up the rock garden. Usually on day shift we used to start at the bottom. Night shift would bring 2 cats down, usually a 400 and a 600, or 2 400s depending what we had available, and me and whoever else was on would take a load of about 10 cafe staff or de-icers or lifties from the bottom up to sort of midway up the mountain, where we have a restaurant and sort of a staging area to get 2 other lifts, and also our workshop for the Snowcats. And it's actually a beautiful day, bluebird day. When it's nice up there, it's nice, but she can get pretty hectic too. If you look back at, I think I've got an old video, little compilation of Snapchat videos of my last season working up there, and yeah, she can be beautiful, but she can be pretty rough up there. I believe it must be early season, well, not super early, but maybe a month or 2 in, because up on the left, that area sort of to the right of the rocky patch is actually part of the slope. That's one of the first areas I actually learned to winch. I was actually in a light wolf back then too, but it's not open that season, and I honestly can't remember that far back to tell you whether or not it was just a bad snow year or too early to start building it. Because usually we get a lot of snow accumulation above that point and we can start pushing down. Actually looking to the left there where those track marks are sitting, I'd say it's early season, because we wouldn't usually leave marks like that either. heading up. I believe the slope that I'm about to go up is called the easy way down. Ironically, it's a difficult way up. If the conditions aren't that good in a snowcat, it's very challenging to get up this slope, and you generally end up lifting the tiller, and we winch it, and then when those cats come down in the morning, they have to be very careful not to rip the slope to pieces. Sometimes it turns to a block of ice, and sometimes it's just slushy, depends on the conditions. And you got the pinnacles way up to the left, those huge cliffs. Also got huge cliffs off to the right too, and you can snowboard and ski above there. So you can see the terrain's a lot different from where I've been working in Sweden. It's a lot more treacherous, it's a lot more dangerous. We get a lot of whiteout up there, so you really have to know where you are on the mountain, especially when you're working in a snowcat on your own, because if you're not paying attention, you can run yourself off a cliff real easy. And those cliffs don't have handrails. We generally have to build bunds around the tops of them wherever that we have actual groomed slopes, so that people don't ski off and white out. Requires a lot of snow. It's pretty tedious, to be honest, but it's better than people falling off cliffs. Now, this was definitely pre-2017 too, because now basically in the line that I'm following there is a huge gondola going up that slope, and the chairlift to the left has been completely dismantled, so it doesn't exist anymore. This is heading up towards Nosedive. So on the left, that area is usually groomed, but like I say, I think this might be early season, so it hasn't been filled in yet. There's actually an anchor sort of in that big sort of patch of snow at the top left, between, sort of underneath that big rock face, and it's pretty awkward. You have to be very careful not to get too close to the rocks and suck the end of your cable through the pulleys on the winch boom. See, it gets really narrow here. It's a bit of a drop off the side, and it can get tight as well if we've had warm conditions. That left hand side can start to melt out a bit. It's pretty much the width of a cat, but your tracks do end up right on the edge, or sometimes hanging a little bit over. You get a good view from up there at least, and you got to watch your winch boom, especially in the light wolf, with those rocks sticking out on the right, because perfect height to catch your boom if you've got it swung too far to the right. Up here you can see on the left where we actually push up a berm made out of snow, and that's because off that left hand side there is basically a vertical cliff, and you do not want to end up going down there. It's not super bad to the left there, but from this point upwards, she's a long way down into that valley, and it's all rocks. So we do maintain that every night, pushing that berm up and trying to get it vertical. If I was a bit more experienced at this point, I probably would be going along that edge and cutting it a bit steeper, but I was fairly green at this point, as you can tell by the way that I'm not really following any set paths. Oh, there you go, maybe I was letting him past. I was just being considerate. Let's go with that. ballsy of me to take that road straight up the ridge there. Usually we go to the right, it's a bit flatter, but I guess I was feeling confident that morning. So this is heading towards our cat shed. That's the workshop at basically the 3/4 of the way up the mountain. It's a pretty decent workshop. And then sort of in the background, slightly to the right, you can see the roof of the restaurant, which is the highest restaurant in New Zealand. Outside we got our 300 Polar there, our 600 Polar, and right in front of the garage there is our 600 Park with its cage up, ready to take some passengers around. So a beautiful day.